Good evening. I want to thank everybody for coming out to Franklin Heights on this beautiful day. It's, I think, the first March concert we've had in a while where it actually felt like a spring concert. I think last year it was about 20 degrees and snowing outside our March concert. I'm very glad that everyone's able to make it out, though, because these kids have just been working their tails off for the last few months, and I'm really excited to have a great concert, not only for them, but also our jazz band and our 8th grade band this evening. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that we are trying to create a formal concert environment for these students so that they can have the best performance experience that they deserve. With that being said, I'd like to highlight a few of the guidelines that are in the back of your program. I'd like to ask that, just remind everyone to please remain quiet and remain in your seats while the band is playing. If you do need to get up to use the restrooms, then we just ask that you do that in between songs or in between the bands. The only time it would be appropriate to get up would be if you are sitting with a small child and they do start to become fussy. We ask that you please take them out to the lobby. You will still be able to hear the concert while you're also calming down the child. I know I've had to do that with my 18-month-old many times at concerts. And then, of course, I want to remind everybody that you're certainly welcome to record or take pictures of the band. But ask that you please do that with your phones on silent and with the flash turned off. We don't want to do anything that's going to distract the students on stage. And then if you are not taking pictures, I ask that you please keep your phones in your pocket, and let's just give these kids the undivided attention that they deserve this evening. As is tradition in the band world, we are going to start things off with the march. This is Crosswinds March by Swearingen. Thank you. As we go throughout the evening, we do want to just share a handful of announcements and reminders as we get the kids ready for a very busy fourth quarter. Playing a march always reminds me of performing at contests, and that actually is one of the last big performances that we have for the year. For those of you that haven't seen a band contest before, think of it sort of like our standardized test in the band world. The kids actually get to take a trip to Capital University in Bexley. They'll play 3 songs for a panel of judges picked by the states, and then once that is finished, get a rating of either superior, excellent, or 3, 4, or 5. Obviously, our goal when we go to contests is to get one of those top 2 ratings. So please keep your eyes open. We will get a lot more information coming about contests as we get into April and May. I can tell you the tentative dates for that will be May 13th or 14th. Again, that will be officially decided once we get a little bit closer to that. We're going to move into slow things down, slice it a little bit different for the next part of our concert. This is a piece called Mystic Dance. Just really has that kind of mystic tribal feel to it. You're going to hear a lot of percussion stuff in the back. I like this one because it keeps them busy and keeps them out of trouble. Also gets to feature a lot of the other sections. I think just about every section in the song gets a little section featured throughout. The next piece we are going to play is actually by a Grove City native, one of my favorite band composers, David Shaffer. This is actually a piece that appeared on the contest list on the Class B level, which is actually the 8th grade level, so a pretty tough challenge for them and one that I think they really rose to the occasion on. This piece is called Into the Rapids, written after he went on a rather eventful whitewater rapids ride, and I think as you listen, you can just kind of hear that imagery in your mind. The twists and turns, the rise and fall, the kind of calm middle section when the water calms down a little bit, and then the ending where it's just race to get out of there. This is Into the Rapids. Before we play our last song for the 7th grade band, I think you can just hear making a lot of progress, certainly making huge improvement even just from that last concert we heard back in December, playing 8th grade level music, playing really good conscious level marches. I can't wait to hear what they accomplish in May. And really, I can't wait to see what these guys accomplish in 8th grade either. We're actually, believe it or not, we are getting ready for 8th grade band. In just a couple weeks, it'll be the 4th quarter, and in the eyes of the office, they're already 8th graders, and we're already starting to work on their schedule. As you came in, 7th grade families, there was a stand by the door that had a stack of green papers. That actually is our registration form for next year's band class. That is what I turn into the office to let them know who's going to sign up for 8th grade band and who needs to have that on their schedule. I would ask that every 7th grade parent, if you could please grab one of those before you leave this evening, and you can actually have that filled out. You can turn that into me this evening if you would like, or have your child bring it back to class tomorrow. I would like those in by next week. The registration form does have the information for what they do for 8th grade band, pretty similar to what they've done this year in 7th grade. We just add a couple performances. They will play at the Franklin Heights football game in the fall as 8th grade night. They also, all of them get to go on the Kings Island trip at the end of the year. It's always a lot of fun. They get to see me ride a bunch of roller coasters and eat a bunch of ice cream. I don't know about the kids, but I think I'm more excited about it than they are. So I'm really excited to get these guys in 8th grade band. And we just ask that everyone please fill out that form honestly. You know, I certainly hope that every one of these kids behind me does continue on in band class next year, but I do understand if someone has decided it's not for them for next year, there is a spot on the form to select no if they are not interested, and there's absolutely no negative consequences if they do that, other than they won't be in band next year. We just ask that you please fill that out honestly and as quickly as possible so that we can give an accurate schedule for them at the beginning of the school year. If you have any questions about that, my email and my phone number are both on there. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We're going to finish off with one last song featuring the 7th grade band, and this is one that I absolutely love getting to teach to them because I'm definitely a jazzer. Duke Ellington is one of my favorite musicians of all time, and what better song to play to wrap up the concert than Salute to the Duke featuring 3 of his greatest hits. Thank you so much. This moment is just going to be a brief intermission as we get the 8th grade band into band warm-up, 7th grade band to their seats, and jazz band in front of you for the middle part of our concert. Just taking a second, apparently Carter doesn't want to stand the entire concert, so we're getting his seat taken care of. We're going to kick things off with the jazz band here in just a moment, featuring a great arrangement of Herbie Hancock jazz standard, Cantaloupe Island. Going to hear a couple solos on this one. Well, it really featured a lot of people, obviously. Herbie Hancock is going to feature our piano player, Nathan Long, in a whole rhythm section. Going to hear from Arturo on trumpet, and hear from Royce on clarinet, and then just a lot of really cool stuff going on in the middle of this as well. gonna change up our style here. Let's definitely work out on that piece. Gonna feature another Duke Ellington song. You can definitely try to like my Duke. This is one of his actually most simple songs, but really one of his most profound. He's called CJM Blues. Only 2 notes, but just kind of shows a lot of his skills as a composer that out of 2 notes he can create just so much wonderful music in here. So we're gonna feature a lot of soloists in the band. We really open this up to some improvisation, which great skill to learn, so essential to America's music, and one that a lot of middle schools don't really get the opportunity to teach. So let's see, I'll try to remember everybody. Sorry if I missed someone. I know we're going to hear a lot of Nathan on the piano at the beginning of the song. We're going to hear Vivian on the trumpet. We're going to hear Roman on trombone, Elijah on baritone. We're going to hear a whole saxophone section. We'll just kind of show off a little bit of everything in this song. So wonderful just to get to teach America's music, and so wonderful for these kids to be able to play it at such a high level here. If you want to hear more of the jazz band, I really encourage you to check out on March 21st. We're actually playing a gig with the Franklin Heights Band down at Crossroads United Methodist Church, just a few minutes away from here on Briggs Road. Again, you'll get to hear us, you'll get to hear the Franklin Heights Jazz 2 with Mr. Ragland and Jazz 1 led by Mr. Stern, as well as talking about even bringing in a community band that's made up of a lot of Franklin Heights alumni. So really a great afternoon of jazz, great opportunity to see the kind of music stuff we got going on at Finland and here at Franklin Heights. That'll be early afternoon, Saturday, March 21st at Crossroads United Methodist Church. Next piece, the jazz band's also their next big trip that they're getting ready for. We don't get to go to an OMEA contest like the concert bands do, but we'll be gearing up for our contest at Kings Island in May. I would ask parents, that final payment for Kings Island, I would like to remind you, is due March 20th, coming up here in a couple weeks. If you have any questions about how much you owe, or if you're interested in being a chaperone, still looking for probably a couple more parents to do that, please just make sure that form gets turned in and reach out to me if you have any questions. Next piece, we're going to slow down, go into a more Basie style ballad. This piece called Last Dance, which, if you know your jazz standards, you'll realize it's heavily inspired by the song Little Darling. I say heavily inspired because I think that's a nicer way of saying kind of stole it from that piece. Basically stole a professional song and arranged it for the middle schoolers. tell the kids, just you gotta show the audience you can play the slow stuff too. We're gonna do one last song we're gonna play, kind of getting featured a little bit of everything in the band. Hear a lot of piano solos on this one. Also hear another clarinet solo from Royce, a piece by Brazilian composer Antonio Carlos Jobim. It's called Sorenson Samba. And this is just one kind of flies, so I like to tell the kids, I'll see you at the end. Thank you. That was a piece that's called Brandon Bay by Ed Huckeby. And actually, I mentioned the 7th graders played a piece from the OMEA B list. I think that's sort of like our state curriculum that we have to follow in band. There's 3 classes for middle school. C is what the 7th graders will be competing in. B is what the 8th graders will be competing in. That piece is actually on the Class A list, so it's actually from the hardest level of middle school literature that you can play at contest. Very impressive piece, and one they played very well. I keep mentioning contest, that is coming up in May, but actually the next big event for the band is actually solo and ensemble contest. That's sort of like a contest, but for individuals. They can either go as a solo act, so play a song by themselves while with the piano accompanist, or they can go as part of a small group called an ensemble. 3 to 6 people. We can mix up just about any instrument. We can do like any sort of woodwind or brass ensemble or percussion ensemble. I know we got one of those rolling about now with about 4 members, I think. Really would love to see a lot of the band students participate in that. It's a great opportunity and a really good way to challenge themselves and just see a tremendous amount of growth and have a really fun experience doing so in the process. With solo and ensemble list forms, I would like to get those in by Friday. I do need to actually turn in my list to OMEA and start registering performers by next week. So I have extended the deadline a little bit. I would just encourage, if you're interested in that, if you could please let me know and get that form and the feed in by Friday for us. We're going to move into a piece that's just a lot of fun to play. Another just kind of mysterious one, has had sort of that tribal effect. Actually written for a burial ground that was discovered in California was kind of the inspiration of this piece. And I think you'll hear that with a lot of the percussion stuff that's used, and just a lot of the tonalities that you hear throughout it. This is a piece called In the Valley of the Ancients. As you can hear, you can probably imagine, Mr. Sturm is very excited to get these guys in the high school band next year. They played with a lot of energy. They really rehearsed well. Wanted just a very well-disciplined, well-behaved, very pleasant group to work with, very talented group to work with, and we know that they're going to do wonderful things in high school. We know that they're going to be great members of the Franklin Heights Marching Band and really make us proud at the next level. We did have our introductory meeting for high school band where Mr. Sturm went over the handbook as well as the summer schedule and all the other schedules that you need to know. If you were not able to make that meeting last week, Mr. Sturm is going to be holding a makeup meeting next Thursday, I believe that's March 12th, but it's Thursday at 7 o'clock right here in the Franklin Heights Auditorium. And that's when he'll go over all the information you do need for high school band. Again, the handbook, the summer schedule, the fee schedule, talk about the Disney trip that's coming up. And 8th grade parents, I would really encourage, as you came in, there's a stand with a half sheet of information from the Franklin Heights Band Boosters. They actually have a meeting coming up in just a couple weeks on March 16th. And that's a great opportunity to just learn how you can help out the band, how you can support these kids and all the hard work that they do, as well as how you can earn some money to help offset the costs of band camp and the Disney trip that's coming up. One I would certainly encourage you looking into is the crew games that come up. We work those about every other week, and a really good opportunity. We do earn $40 towards your band fees for every adult that works for your student. So good opportunity to earn some extra cash. If you have any questions about band boosters, after the performance, Mr. Rockwell, who's our booster president, he's currently up in the balcony videotaping us, but after the performance, he'll be in the back of the auditorium and certainly open to answer any questions. One other reminder from the band boosters, for any kids that sold popcorn or cups or barbecue sauce, anything from that last money-making project, all of that is in and it's ready to be picked up after the concert in the uniform room. That's that room that's right next to the orchestra. Follow the band booster parents, they'll tell you where to get your stuff. Obviously, the big thing we're excited about for next year's band is going to Disney World. That's the big trip that we get to go on every 4 years, and these guys are just very lucky that they get to do that as freshmen in high school. Sorry, 7th graders, you guys got to wait till you're seniors to get to go on that trip. I know we're really excited about it. I know I'm excited to hopefully get a chance to take my son with me. He'll be about 3, and he absolutely loves Mickey, so I think it'll be the best time of his life. But I figured before we go on this trip, the kids need to know just an absolute Disney staple, the Mickey Mouse March. believe me when I said I'd be bringing my Mickey ears to play this song. Looking good back there, percussion. A lot of fun piece, and again, just really looking forward to seeing these guys in high school band. If you have any questions about that, or if you have the registration form for high school band that you'd like to turn in, you can certainly find myself or Mr. Sturm or any one of the band booster parents after the concert around the auditorium. The last half of this concert, the kids always kind of called the Disney Plus version of it. We got Disney, we got Star Wars next, and I told them I should have busted out. I have a great arrangement with the Avengers theme song. We have the Disney trifecta here, but before we play this, just obviously thank all of you for coming out. I want to thank our principals. I see Mr. Phillips in the back being very supportive of us. Principals and staff in Finland for being supportive of the music classes, even when we're very loud. And just thank you, Mr. Stern, for all the help he's giving us and letting us use this beautiful auditorium here. Also want to thank our student teacher, Mr. Brewster. He's subbing in. One of our tenor saxophones unfortunately had an injury and wasn't able to play this evening, so he's subbing in, helping us out in that. Before we play, we're going to finish up with the last song, Medley of Star Wars.